All right, here we are on Daybreak. This is Game 7 between Acer and Mousesports and IPL Team Arena Challenge 3, lower round 2. Bly going to try and finish things up here for Acer, build upon the work that Paranoid's already been doing. I'm sure that Mana is thinking, oh, just another Zerg. Let's try and bulldoze our way through. Mana is the green Protoss down here in the bottom left corner, pulling off an amazing comeback in that last match on Ohana.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to see this game. I mean, I know I say I'm excited to see every game. That's just what StarCraft 2 does to me. And it's one of those lines that, like, you know, you hear so much from casters, but it's true. Most of these games nowadays are incredibly exciting games. We've gotten to this point where most of what we need to do, what we need to see from players is figured out. The players come up with these scientific builds that, you know, can do really good amount of work against their opponents, you know, figured out the matchups, figured out the maps, but just every other day these theoretical perfect builds are destroyed. Mouz.MaNa's anti-Stefano style build has been doing a lot of work lately, and his style in general is just pretty much unbeatable for Zerg. So hopefully he can, you know, all kill Acer. Or, you know, at least give us some more good games between Acer and himself, because Acer's only got Zergs left in their pocket.
Yeah, that is a great thing about StarCraft 2. You know, if a build is too godly, eventually players will figure it out. And if they don't, Blizzard just fixes it for them and does some balance changes and stuff like that. Oh, I've just been alerted that my race is wrong for Mana. Was it wrong in the last game, too? I hope not. Oopsie daisy. I had him as Terran, which is, you know.
That's completely correct.
That's slightly wrong. Hopefully that didn't happen last game. I'm not actually sure, but either way, we have Evolution Chamber cancel here. Did he actually just build?
He built a hatchery, canceled it for the creep, and then put down an Evo Chamber because the Evo Chambers cost less minerals and grow very, very quick in their HP.
Yeah, I can't believe that's still in the game. It just seems cheesy, you know.
It's a little bit cheesy, but you know, it does cost a bit of resources for Acer.Bly to do it. It actually costs 87 plus the fact that it's an evolution chamber and a drone. So it's kind of like the reverse Manor pylon, I guess, if you really want to look at it. But forces very, very early defense from Mana. So you know, most Zergs just use this to get the nice econ advantage. But Bly is still moving out with 6 lanes.
Yep, Bly is already moving out, and Mana did actually do the Manor Pylon there at the natural, and that's the other nice thing about the Evolution Chamber. When it explodes, little Broodlings come out and do even more damage, so Mana did a good job making sure no probes were still around for them to be taken out. 400 minerals coming up here very, very soon, so he'll be able to expand as he wanted to earlier. The Lings actually, oh man, that was really fast.
Beautiful reaction there from Mana.
He had a gateway placed a little bit higher, like the silhouette of it, and when he saw that the Lings were in it, he still managed to cancel it and put it in the right spot. Not cancel it, but
I can't even imagine like being able to think about that on the spot that quickly. Just throwing down the BG hotkeys to get to the buildings and then the gateway, and then clicking to put it in the correct spot. I mean, that must have happened in half of a millisecond there for Mana, but that's the kind of play we expect from these types of pros.
Very, very quick. Unfortunately for Mana, the Lings still got into the main base. There's not a whole lot for them to see, but they're still going to be annoying, and these probes are going to have to be pulled off to try and deal with them. One Ling does go down, but also a probe, and I think Bly, he'll get lucky if he gets another probe kill because they can just descend on them so easily. There actually is another probe kill. And the Zealot is going to come in to make sure that nothing else goes on. Okay, yeah, all the Lings are dead finally. We have a pylon actually that Mana put up at the third base of Bly, and Bly detected it, killed it, so good job there. He does have that space available for him now to drop a third hatch pretty quick. I don't see a drone going over there just yet, even though he is getting close to 300 minerals. Instead, we're going to see some roaches start to march across the map.
Yeah, this is some really, really early heavy aggression, just like his previous teammate Paranoid. Acer.Bly going for this very, very early roach aggression. Maybe Paranoid was just like, psst, do some early aggression.
I almost got him last
was
time.
Almost killed from it.
Yeah, but MaNa this time does not have a Stargate ready to go just yet, so if Bly does actually follow in Paranoid's footsteps, he might actually be able to do even more damage than he did. Right now, there is just one pylon powering everything, so that's always obviously a vulnerability. There's no sentry out just yet for MaNa, so if Bly somehow figures out a way to get that pylon taken out, there's another silhouette there. That was a problem that MaNa had last time with his buildings being unpowered, but this time it looks like he's going to make up for that mistake. It looks like more roaches are crawling across the map now. They're so freaking slow before that lair is done, and the stalkers are actually a bit quicker, so they can actually pick off roaches if this lasts too much longer.
Now, there are 8 roaches in total, and it looks like MaNa will lose one of those stalkers, but that stalker did a lot of damage. Look at all those hurt units in the back of this roach group, and that one stalker was responsible for all of that. That forge looks like it's just barely going to go down, but the sentry comes out at the right second to be able to pop down a force field if necessary. Does cancel the +1 weapons upgrade.
Nice.
And the sentry is focus fire down by those roaches, but those roaches are taking a lot of hits from those photon cannons.
Yeah, Bly did a good job focusing that sentry, but at the same time, MaNa dropped that force field to be able to take a roach with him, so at least he managed that. Lots of roaches actually died for that forge. He's down to only 4 now. MaNa, you can see his stalkers, they're just so fast. Like, they just kite like crazy.
His reactionary timing, as we saw before, is impeccable.
Yeah, and Bly back at home still hasn't dropped that third base, even though he knows it's clear, so I'm a little bit surprised that he hasn't done that. Lair is coming up now instead. Maybe I'm only surprised because we've been watching Paranoid the last few games, and it would be really weird if he didn't have a third hatch by 9 minutes in.
A fourth hatch, I would say, by 9 minutes in. Paranoid loves to overexpand, but he's able to back it up rather well with his macro and just general good idea of the game and how to really play it perfectly. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to deal with MaNa, but Bly is not doing so bad himself. He's now just about to finish up his lair technology. All 4 geysers have been grabbed by him, so we're going to be seeing some really high tech coming out from him. But MaNa's got 4 gateways now going on the way. So that's going to bring him up to 6 gates plus a nice little robotics facility as well.
Yeah, MaNa going brute force here could actually be the right decision. He's been picking off overlords actually here and there. I think he's killed 2 or 3 so far. One was a little bit lazy by Bly. He probably could have got away with it, but wasn't, you know, actively trying to escape with it. He just let it kind of get attacked a bunch of times. But all these warp gates now done for MaNa. He just needs to flip them over and he can start warping in like crazy. I'm curious if he's going to get a robotics facility and a warp prism, or if he's going to start hiding pylons all over the place. Oh, he does already have the facility. Okay, I see that observer flying by and an immortal coming out now. Warp prism would be pretty nifty with that amount of gateways. Also a hidden pylon somewhere near the third base, let's say, of Bly, could be really destructive since he doesn't have vision over there anymore. He left that overlord and let it leave. But lots of spine crawlers coming up for Bly at the natural. He's afraid of some timings here, it looks like.
Well, he's also being very, very defensive. He's going for that Spire play, as we can see that's going up now in his main base, just between those 2 mineral patches. And so he's trying to put down as many spine crawlers so he doesn't have to worry about huge amounts of counterattacks and just be a little bit more defensive, spending only minerals on being on the static defense while he can spend all of his gas on those mutas. He's got 900 saved up. Probably will have about 1,000 gas saved up by the time that Spire does pop out. Whether or not he's going to have enough supply to deal with that, 2 more overlords, 5 more overlords now in the queue for that as well. The third base is looking a little susceptible to that lane counterattack, but there are a couple of sentries to delay that for now.
Oh yeah, more than enough there at that third base ready to defend, and MaNa is just macroing like a beast, 95 to 75. It was in the 60s just a second ago, but MaNa up by 20 supply at 12 minutes in without, you know, much of an engagement so far. I think there's only been that one fight with the roaches and stalkers early on. MaNa was on the back foot for most of that too, and he's still ahead by nearly 20 supply. But the warp prism is out now. I kind of lost track of where he ended up.
It's in the bottom base right now.
It
it's over there. It's going to be doing some warp-ins, it looks like, to go harass that fourth base. Third base for Bly.
Did he scout that before?
Yeah, he did by the observer.
Oh, I gotcha.
The observer was just kind of hanging out right above it, just like eyes.
Okay. I was going to say that's really impressive. He's just like, oh, Bly skipped his third base, went straight to the fourth. Let's just warp in right next to that.
Well, I mean, those are those kind of things that I would expect MaNa just to have calculating in his brain regardless.
Oh, look at these mutas. They're going to be so sad to see these cannons here.
Yeah, those mutas are not going to be too effective right now. And this is actually what Bly is not really needing. He's trying to take out some pylons here. But that warp gate's actually powered by 2 pylons, so it's not even an Artosis pylon for that one pylon, for that one warp gate. Stalkers blink up and take out so many of those mutas.
Yep, Muta's forced to retreat now, and we do have a warp-in hitting that 3rd base location for Bly. He will be able to pick this off until the Mutas arrive. Let's see if they're going to get there in time. It looks like they will be able to clean that up pretty quickly, but still now Bly is aware that MaNa's got these warp-ins rolling now. It's going to be hard for him to stop that unless he finds that warp prism and gets it killed off. All these blink stalkers moving across the middle of the map. Why are those drones even over there?
That doesn't even make any sense.
Why are
drones,
they there?
What are you doing
Bly,
over there? You're a drone, not a Zergling. but yeah, you know, that warp prism is going to be very, very good for MaNa. He's got +2 weapons on all of his units as well. And that's one of those things you have to keep in mind is that, you know, Protoss was a little bit delayed when his Forge got picked off before, but getting up to that +3 weapons, those Blink Stalkers, incredibly effective against mutas. Eventually, you do want to try to get that Templar Archives out and start getting Storm if the muta numbers do get a little bit overwhelming, and that's exactly what MaNa's doing. So playing this game perfectly by the book, and that's the kind of style we expect from MaNa, just playing exactly how you expect him to.
Yeah, if we expect him to play like that, I guess we expect it. Yeah,
I guess that was a bit of a whatever. You know what? Let's just look at this game right now. The muta's coming in here, picking up by the Stalkers, and yeah, it looks like MaNa's going to clean up that aggression as well. There's not much that Bly can really do here. Still just a little bit ahead right now in the drone count, but he needs to start coming up with more than this. 3-base toss is very, very scary for Zerg to deal with.
Yeah, and all these Blink Stalkers, man. Psionic Storm also being researched. Dark Shrine being put up now. MaNa is covering all of his bases. Not even going to bother with Colossi because of the amount of mutas that he's seen so far. He knows Corruptors would just deal with it way too easily, so he's just going to go the Psionic Storm route. He is getting +3 weapons already. Bly sitting at 1-0 on his mutas, but really just not enough from Bly coming out now. He's on 4 bases with a 5th hatch in his main for macro, but really he's just got 2 kind of split forces of Mutalisks, nothing really on the ground to speak of, just some spine crawlers going up at every single base. I really want to see Bly start to, you know, make some different units, show some variety.
A little bit of muta aggression into the main base was stopped very, very short by a Blink Stalkers that were already there, just waiting for those mutas to come in. And huge mistake as Bly moves around to take out the Xel'Naga tower, but the Blink Stalkers were right there, and Mouz.MaNa gets a number more of those mutas down.
Building 5 more mutas.
Now only 20 mutas out here for Bly.
I really can't believe he's continuing with this after getting shut down at the top, getting shut down at the main. He's still just building more mutas. I'm a little surprised that Bly really isn't switching gears yet. Infestors against Blink Stalkers? Come on. I mean, so much better than mutas who will, you know, the Stalkers are going to blink underneath them, pick off 3 or 4 mutas. He'll be forced to run away. They don't have the DPS to just sit there and take it. So I'm just really surprised. He's still got just a huge flock of mutas, and now that Psionic Storm is done, MaNa just needs to land 1 or 2 pretty storms and win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that, you know, this is the kind of Zergy style that they like to do on large maps like this, try and stop the Protoss from getting that 4th base up. But MaNa's being successful in getting that 4th base up. He even clumps up most of his Stalkers in really good locations to stop this muta harassment. Now, the mutas are doing a good amount of damage here in the main base, but here comes that High Templar. Is he going to be able to get the Storm down on those mutas? No, those mutas do get away in the last second.
Oh, he still could. Oh, no!
And there's the Storm on the mutas, weakening them so much, and those Blink Stalkers are tearing up the rest of them. And this is just definitely not looking for good for Bly right now. Now, he is resupplying with 7 more mutas. He's got the +2 flyer weapons and +1 carapace on them as well. But
stop building mutas.
This is all right. Now I'm starting to agree with you. I'm starting to agree with you.
MaNa has Blink Stalkers with +3 weapons. He has Sentries with Guardian Shield, and he has Templar with Storm. Like, none of those things.
The problem is that Bly has involved so much of his econ into this technology already, into this army composition, that he needs to be able to do some sort of damage. He has to be very, very stubborn with these mutas. Looking at the income tab, he's up to 86 drones,
Wow.
which is like a little bit more than what you want for perfect saturation to keep his army numbers low, but be able to regenerate his mutas very, very quickly.
MaNa's
it's still just
moving.
not working.
MaNa's moving through the middle of the map. He destroyed those destructible rocks in the center of the map. Oh, he gets on the spine crawlers as they're still rooting. Oh my goodness, this is not pretty for Bly. There's another storm. I have to say, just a couple of infestors to throw some fungals would help so much. I mean, you can still have a lot of mutas, but yeah, pathogen glands coming out at 21 minutes, not enough. And now we're going to see MaNa rolling with a 60 supply advantage, 3-0 upgrades, not even building any armor, because Guardian Shield's going to cut down the damage from the mutas so much already, and Storms are just another great shield. Look at all these Spine Crawlers. Guardian Shield protects from Spine Crawlers too. So he is just having the time of his life.
It looks like Bly's going to be losing his third base. He already lost the base in the middle. And this might just be GG for Acer.Bly against MaNa. And MaNa might be able to turn this whole entire series around. What are you thinking right now?
Oh, man. MaNa's just having fun. Like, a big squad of Lings, something like 20 Lings just ran into the fourth base of MaNa. He dropped 2 storms, and they all disappeared in that maze of cannons. So MaNa, I mean, honestly, he's going to go hit off this this base that's been mining down here. It was the third one he built, but I'll just call it the fourth base for the sake of it. He's going to hit this fourth base and just crush through it. The Guardian Shield, that one
mutas.
sentry.
Oh, the mutas run into a huge amount of storms, and all of them are cleaned up. 94 supply was at Acer.Bly's minimum. Fungal Growth now coming down, as well as Infested Terran, but he has no upgrades on those Infested Terran except for +1 carapace. These Stalkers have +3 weapons. They do 17 damage per shot against armored units like Infestors.
They're killing the unkillable larva. They're so strong. But these Infested Terrans are just chilling until they expire. Bly's income has to be looking pretty ragged. 780. That's actually more than I thought he would have. I mean, he's got only 38 harvesters to MaNa's 74, though. Bly has just not been able to do anything on the counterattacks. He's building a Greater Spire now, but I don't see Broodlords coming out. Look at the number of Stalkers he has. Let's just check the units tab. 48 Stalkers, and a Fleet Beacon's about to finish, so Mothership is going to be the next order of business for MaNa if he doesn't kill him.
Blinks right on into those Spine Crawlers, and it looks like this is going to be probably GG in the next couple of seconds, as there's just nothing left here for Acer.Bly. No bases, desperately trying to get that third base up. The Infestors all are croaked, and there's the GG.
And there's the GG. MaNa picking up 2 wins in a row. He's only got Zerg